The Canucks were shopping Kiefer Sherwood, and now they're trying to keep him. That contradiction matters, and let's get into it here. So, by now, you have probably already seen all the Kiefer Sherwood trade speculation, and look, by the time this video is uploaded, maybe the guy's already traded, maybe he's already on his way out of Vancouver, but Kiefer Sherwood is a Canucks forward whose contract expires at the end of this season, and because of the fact that he's making $1.5 million, because of the fact that he is on pace for 30-plus goals on the year, because of the fact that he set the NHL record for hits in a season last year, and because of his insane work ethic, Kiefer Sherwood has been a hot commodity on the NHL trade market. We've made a bunch of videos going over all the teams that are interested in this guy. From Boston to New York to Tampa Bay, supposedly, Dallas, Montreal. Lots of teams are dipping their toes in the water, and lots of teams are apparently driving the price upward. But yesterday, during the Hockey Night in Canada, Maple Leafs and Islanders broadcast, on the Saturday headline segment of the show, you had Elliotte Friedman go out there and say this: that the Vancouver Canucks have made a new contract offer to keep Kiefer Sherwood. He mentioned that there's still a sizable gap between both sides, but they have talked about an extension. This contradicts everything that we heard about the Vancouver Canucks heading into the post-Quinn Hughes trade era. All the insider information from guys like Thomas Drance and others saying that the Canucks are interested in trading away their pending UFAs, in trading away all the assets that can be seen as rentals for other teams, so that the Canucks could capitalize on Sherwood's exploding value this season and get themselves another first-round pick. They already got one from the Quinn Hughes trade. Sherwood is a guy who may be in the territory to demanding another, and then you have other UFAs to be like Evander Kane, Teddy Bluger. These guys won't command first-round picks, but the Canucks have been pointing in the direction of trading these players away. They want to retool with a little bit of a hybrid form, not necessarily go a full-on rebuild route, even though they did say the word rebuild multiple times after Quinn Hughes got traded. It's almost like the messaging from Vancouver changes depending on when you talk to these guys. But for a few weeks, it was Kiefer Sherwood, Kiefer Sherwood, Kiefer Sherwood. He's going to get traded. He's going to get moved for a first. He's going to get moved for a really nice prospect and some seconds or whatever. There was always this conversation on what the Vancouver Canucks could get. And Canucks fans were salivating because outside of Quinn Hughes, Kiefer Sherwood is the most valuable and most likely to be traded asset on the team right now. This is where the update comes in, that apparently Vancouver is trying to re-sign Sherwood instead. They've made an offer to try to keep him, and that there's a gap between both sides. You have a lot of Canucks fans responding to this discourse saying, wow, look at that. The Vancouver Canucks are going down the same path. They are making the same mistakes, quote unquote. Their refusal to enter a rebuild, their refusal to ship away valuable assets for draft capital and prospects, and their over-admittance of trying to stay competitive despite their poor results and their lack of upfront top-end talent. We saw too many Canucks fans freaking out about this. But is this more philosophical inconsistency for the Vancouver Canucks? Or is this just a smokescreen? I've seen the opposing narrative that says, hey, the Vancouver Canucks might actually still be interested in trading away Kiefer Sherwood. They might actually be intending to do that more so than actually re-signing him. Maybe they're just telling Elliotte Friedman, hey, can you go into Hockey Night in Canada and say that we're trying to re-sign this guy so that other teams around the National Hockey League will get the message and then they'll be interested in giving us more? Because if other teams think that we're interested in bringing Sherwood back, then that drives the trade price up. It's all politics at the end of the day, right? Is this just a smokescreen? For what it's worth, you had Thomas Drance responding to that same Tyson Cole tweet, essentially calming the nerves of every Canucks fan that saw the Kiefer Sherwood re-signing conversation and started to panic a little. Take a look at this. Drance said that this is a classic don't get pre-mad situation. The Vancouver Canucks in the Jim Rutherford era have historically circled back on veteran pending UFAs with a contract offer, Horvat and Mott, before executing a trade. Drance has the receipts here too. On December 12, 2022, Drance and Dhaliwal posted an Athletic article going over how Vancouver made another offer to Bo Horvat. And then, later on, there was another comment written about in The Athletic on how Tyler Mott was offered a contract extension as well. Seems like this is a common pattern for Vancouver. Pending UFAs are in all these trade rumors. The Canucks then field an offer for these guys, and then they trade the players away despite that shortly after. And for what it's worth, there haven't even been any ideas as to what that offer from Vancouver could have looked like. Does it match the general offer that insiders are saying Sherwood could go for in free agency? Maybe a $4 million deal, something like that? He's certainly played his way up to getting the biggest contract of his entire career and making way more than $1.5 million per season. He's on pace for 35 goals this year after all. That's no easy feat, and of course it's going to result in a raise. But if Vancouver straight up just offered Kiefer Sherwood a $500 pay increase, for example, if Rutherford or Alvin is like, hey, we're going to send you a 3-year contract, $2 million AAV, will you take it? Of course, Sherwood's going to say no, but at the same time, Vancouver could say, yeah, no, we sent an offer. We are trying to make this happen. We are trying to bridge the gap. Sherwood's party, for what it's worth, probably is interested in $4.5 or $5 million. They want to do whatever they can to maximize the value for their client, right? But does that help Vancouver in creating the smokescreen? That's the question. I've seen a lot of Canucks fans immediately dismissing the idea of a Sherwood trade, and I've also seen a few that have said, hey, Sherwood is legitimately good for this Vancouver Canucks team. He is one of the most valuable players in terms of overall pace, in terms of shooting percentage, in terms of conversion rate. Make no mistake about it, he's literally the top goal-scoring player on this Canucks team. He's valuable, yeah. But whether or not you want to keep him is more a question of what direction do you want to take this team? Do you want a Vancouver Canucks squad that will utilize the services of a Kiefer Sherwood, maybe overpay him a bit too much in the same way they did with Dakota Joshua, only for Sherwood to potentially bounce back down to earth next year and beyond? Or if he continues to produce, this guy can single-handedly win you games by scoring 35 goals a year, which makes the Vancouver Canucks better on paper and gives them worse draft odds in the drafts. If the Canucks are going through a legitimate step-back year, they want to take 2026 and 2027 off in terms of being competitive, you don't keep Kiefer Sherwood. You trade the guy away. You get your draft picks. You trade him away because it makes your team worse and it makes you lose more games, and then you get some other draft capital and prospects because it helps you out in the long term. Sherwood is 30 years old. Yes, it's true he has earned his flowers. He has earned whatever pay increase he could get, but you could also say he's earned an opportunity to be a part of a winner. Yes, if he's on a Colorado or a Boston or a whatever other team you want to name, maybe he's not getting top 6 opportunities and top power play time like he is in Vancouver, but if he wins a cup, I'd say he's probably fine. So you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the idea of a Kiefer Sherwood contract extension on behalf of the Vancouver Canucks? What are your thoughts on Elliotte Friedman's update that they have apparently given him an offer recently? And does that change the way you view this team? Is it the same mistake all over again? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. 99 and bye.